Welcome to the Opposition of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago's press briefing this Thursday, the 19th of December, 2024. We will be addressed by the Honourable Leader of Opposition, Kamla Persad Bissessar, SC MP, and MP Vandana Mohit. Thank you for your patience and joining us on this broadcast. We will begin shortly. Thank you, and in the meanwhile, please share the live.
So the Minister of Finance is killing us with tax. We are like prisoners in our own home. We are under attack. Come on, people, sing it with me. Sing it out.
Tell them we fed up. Had them bag of lies.
We fed up.
Cause them is wolf in disguise.
Fed up.
Had them playing games. So we not voting them again.
We fed up.
Hope you understand.
We fed up.
B&M never had a plan.
We fed up.
And they using we. So we voting for the UNC. The claim say they love we. The claim say they care. The claim say. They don't have a clue what to do, but put taxes on me and you. Take back the food yard and they see things hard. The way we live like dog in the yard.
So why they moving so? I really don't know. Them don't like the poor people in the ghetto. This is what I want you to know.
Tell them we fed up. Had them bag of lies.
We fed up.
Cause them is wolf in disguise.
Fed up.
And they playing games. So we not voting them again.
We fed up.
Hope you understand.
We fed up.
B&M never had a plan.
We fed up.
And they using we. So we voting for the UNC. The claim say they love we. The claim say they care. The claim say. We was red and ready. Now listen to me. Like the one telling we red and hungry. I hope all they see what they're doing to we. And they say they care about we.
We can't take it no more. This is for sure. It's time for the Bissessar to go. Because the people don't want you anymore.
Tell them we fed up. Had them bag of lies.
We fed up.
Cause them is wolf in disguise.
Fed up.
And they playing games. So we not voting them again.
We fed up.
Hope you understand.
We fed up.
B&M never had a plan.
We fed up.
And they using we. So we voting for the UNC. The claim say they love we. The claim say they care. The claim say. Tell them we fed up. Yeah, the people crying.
We fed up.
Why the crime rate so high?
Fed up.
Food prices gone up.
The people, why you know we fed up on that? We fed up.
So let's talk about now.
We fed up.
How the baby grant and food grant gone.
Fed up.
Yeah, you talk about the past.
The people, why you know we fed up on that? We fed up.
Let's talk about now.
We fed up.
Let's don't talk about the past. Let's speak about now. What's going on now? The issues now.
We fed up.
Fed up on them.
We fed up.
Say we fed up on them.
Fed up.
The people fed up on them. Fed up on them. We fed up. We fed up. We fed up.
No more red. No more rain. No more red. No more rain. No left foot, right foot again. No more struggle, no more strain, no more pain. We want to see we way. We want a brighter day. No more Rowley again. Bye bye Rowley. Bye bye. Bye bye Rowley. Bye bye. We not voting for you. We tired of the bloodshed, tired of the taxes, tired of the potholes and all the excuses. Tired of no water, tired of stretching at the law, tired of the high grocery bills.
Good afternoon, everyone. MP Mohit has joined me today to deal with an issue that has arisen in the public domain. And as the Express tells us, pension fiasco. and the Guardian tells us pension terror. So I'm sure you want a copy of your own paper. Pension terror, Guardian, front page. Pension fiasco, Express, front page. So I want to deal with the fiasco and the terror in a little more detail than I was able to do yesterday, because at the same time that we were meeting at the Parliament building, the AG and the Minister were conducting a press conference. I think the government's attempt to do political damage control after they were caught trying to take away people's pensions by disqualifying them if they have $25,000 or more in savings is ridiculous and absurd. This adds to a long list of outrageous and shameless lies and shows that this AG has no respect for the public's intelligence. This AG has a history of lying and telling ridiculous stories. This AG is not mentally fit and intellectually able to be Attorney General. His suggestion that this was a mistake and his attempt to blame some unidentified public servant is preposterous. I want you to remember, this is his trademark. In the Piarco Airport court proceedings in Miami, the Attorney General lied on oath when he labeled himself a junior lawyer, when he in fact was a full lawyer representing former Finance Minister Quaitung in that airport matter. It was so embarrassing that the opposing attorneys called him out on his lie. In the end, Armour was disqualified from the matter, and the government had to hire a new law firm, which took millions of dollars down the drain. What was his excuse back then, his trademark? He blamed the lawyers, saying they called him to sign the affidavit when he was on vacation and his memory was failing. I think he said it was a small hotel room somewhere out of the country and his memory had failed him. Scandal 2, the missing file at the AG's office. High Court Master Martha Alexander, in a malicious prosecution case, ordered $20 million in compensation for the 9 accused of kidnapping and murdering businesswoman Vindra Naipal Kulman. The group had filed a lawsuit almost 4 years after they were freed of the charges in May 2016. The Office of the Attorney General entered an appearance and we were fully aware they were in the matter, but they failed to defend the case. Again, Armour said the file went missing and then it reappeared. Who, what, where, why? He blamed public servants, but we still don't know who, what, where, why in this matter. Scandal 3. When the AG remained silent about the office of the AG being hit with a cyber attack in July 2023, he hid it from the public until the media exposed it. 4. When the AG tried to bully the Auditor General into amending her audit report over the missing $3.4 billion, the AG said it was a mistake by the central bank and attempted to blame the public officers in the bank. 5. Just recently, there have been issues with respect to the operations of the Registrar General's office in Tobago. The AG called a press conference during which he apologized to the people of Tobago and said investigations found that 2 employees were behind the problems. Again, blaming public servants, but again, no information to support his claim. Also, in terms of the process, look, I've served as an Attorney General, I've served as a Prime Minister of this country, and I'm fully aware of the process by which a bill is introduced in Parliament. A bill must be approved by the Cabinet before it is laid in the Parliament. We brought to the attention of the public that this bill, the Pensions Bill, Amendment Bill, had been brought before the Parliament. This is the process. Before it's laid in Parliament, there is a very detailed procedure to ensure that it reflects government policy. No public servants will get up on a VAPS and insert a clause that will disqualify elderly citizens with over $25,000 in savings from their hard-earned pension. If you have to get a stent, they say it costs about $100,000. An angiogram is $10,000. A CT is about $5,000. How long will $25,000 in savings last an elderly person? Even if they did, the government would have picked it up and changed it if this wasn't part of their policy. Before the bill can go, the government should have picked it up. Was it really an error or a mistake? They should have picked it up and changed it. It wasn't part of their policy. Yesterday, they said the cabinet note was taken to the cabinet in March 2023. We are now, it was laid on 9th December 2024, which is about 18 months. That bill has been before the cabinet for about 18 months. And it's only Monday, yesterday you called a press conference to say you made a mistake, it was an error. Only yesterday discovered this error. The steps in the process are as follows. The line ministry will develop a policy after consultations and meetings. 2. The minister will then approve that policy for her ministry and take a note to the cabinet. 3. The Prime Minister, as head of the cabinet, has to read that note and direct that it be placed on the agenda for a cabinet meeting. 4. The minister tables the note in cabinet, and after much discussion, it is then approved and adopted as official government policy. So we're at the stage of the policy being approved by the cabinet. Once this policy is communicated to the Attorney General, AG will then give instructions for a bill to be drafted in accordance with the policy approved by the cabinet. The AG then places that bill before something called the LRC, the Legislative Review Committee, which he, the Attorney General, chairs. This committee is a subcommittee of the cabinet and comprises many senior ministers, and it's chaired, as I say, by the Attorney General or anyone acting in that post. The LRC can make whatever changes it deems necessary to ensure that government's policy is indeed reflected in the bill. After LRC approves the bill, the AG will take a note to cabinet for it to consider the draft bill. So this is the second step going back to the cabinet. But the AG told us something yesterday. He said that after the policy was approved, the bill went in, the cabinet note went by bill in 2023, as I said, 18 months ago. He also told us that when it went to cabinet, that it went to something called the FGNP. That is known as the Finance and General Purposes Committee. It's another committee which comprises several senior ministers sit down and review this bill before it is finally approved. After the LRC, AG takes it to the cabinet. It went to the cabinet in March last year, then it went to the FNGP, and then what happened? Has to come back from the FNGP to the cabinet. The Prime Minister will then read the bill and instruct it to be placed on the agenda for a cabinet meeting. This is a bill now, as distinct from the policy. The entire cabinet will consider the bill. The cabinet can then make any changes it thinks fit to ensure that it reflects the government's policy before cabinet approves it. So you have several stages when, if there was a mistake, that mistake should have been taken up. What else are they making mistakes about? The AG's ministry is the second most powerful. The entire cabinet can be, you have a quorum once the Prime Minister and the AG are present. So they have tremendous power. And this thing, sitting around for about 18 months, and you now find out, as I said yesterday, that there is an error and there is a mistake. So I had several points during these 18 months at which you could have made changes to the bill. After that is done, the cabinet approves the bill. It is then laid in the parliament, so government can then use its majority to pass it into law. That happens, as I said, they laid it on the 9th. So all these steps had been taken. You now find out there's an error, there is a mistake. I don't believe a word that they say. How could such an important clause that would disenfranchise thousands of elderly people from their pensions not be noticed for over 18 months? Were they all asleep at the cabinet table? Remember then, it's not just the AG, it is not just the minister, Mr. Cox, it's the entire cabinet has oversight of this when it goes. Nobody in that cabinet saw the mistake. Did they even read it? But two are saying they were out of the country on that fateful day. But this has been with you for 18 months, 18 months. It is high-class recklessness, negligence, or pure incompetence, or it was always their intention to disenfranchise, to take away the money from the elderly pensioners. Are they simply backpedaling now? They fall all over and don't know who to blame because they've been caught trying to play a fast one on our nation's elderly persons who have worked so hard and contributed to building our country. And then there's the minister. I speak about the AG and his trials and tribulations over the years. The worst supporting actress. It is like a Netflix movie, Netflix fiction, when you go through what's happening. So then you had, with the AG, as he could have been the writer of the Netflix science fiction or fiction, and the worst supporting actress, the Honourable Minister, Donna Cox. The minister defended the clause, and she sort of justified for the entire day, the whole of Monday, justifying. She never said it was a mistake. She only wake up on Wednesday morning and decide it was a mistake. She did not say it was a mistake. She was clear. The government's policy is that anyone with this 25,000 or more in savings did not deserve a pension and would not get one. The AG's attempt to shield her from questioning by the media will not work. It will not work. This fiasco has nothing to do with the tragic fire, and the attempt by the Honourable Minister to use it as a convenient political excuse is disturbing and distasteful. How much lower can a person go to use that tragedy as an excuse for overseeing this and making a mistake? How much lower can you go? That had nothing to do with the fire. You had it for 18 months, Minister. And before 18 months yesterday, you all told us that since 2021, you had a policy. A policy. So 2020, you had a policy. 2023, you laid this cabinet note 18 months ago. And now you come to tell me you now discover a mistake. That, again, I say, and to use the tragedy of a colleague as an excuse is disturbing and exceedingly distasteful. The bill was approved by the cabinet against the whole cabinet. Nobody saw it. It's only when I brought it to the attention of the public, then they saw it. Do they even read those cabinet notes? You really have to wonder that an entire cabinet is sitting around a table, not once but twice. They sit first when the bill was brought to them in March last year. Then a subcommittee sits in the Finance and General Purposes, again senior ministers. 2. 3, when it comes back on the day it was approved, the whole cabinet, the entire cabinet, and if the AG said he wasn't there, and the Prime Minister said they weren't there, you had acting persons. Government continues. It doesn't stop if somebody disappears or goes abroad or passes away. There's an acting, I am told, I saw the Gazette just before I came up, the Gazette which says that on that day, the 9th, the Minister Stuart Young was acting for the Prime Minister, and Mr. Camille Robinson-Regis was acting for the Attorney General. So this went through all of them. Nobody saw it. I say it was approved by Cabinet, laid in Parliament long before this fire. And that minister was defending it long before the fire. Indeed, this is a minister who is on record as saying people too greedy. I don't know if you remember that. People too greedy. The government has no shame, and every single pensioner will join with the rest of the nation in voting them out so to keep their pension safe and secure. I would like MP Mohit to join me here for a minute, and then I'll continue. This is to do with, this is not the first time that this government and this minister has attempted to take away monies from the most vulnerable. Go ahead, Vanad.
Sure. Thank you, Leader. As the political leader and the leader of the opposition has said, this is not the first time that the Minister of Social Development is making errors, as she claims. In 2018, under this government, 18,000 persons were removed from the food support system again. An attack on the poor and vulnerable. In 2021, I don't know if you all recall, in December of 2021, a memo from the Permanent Secretary was circulating, immediate suspension of the food support program. Because of public pressure again, the minister came a few hours later and said it's not a suspension, it's a review of the program. This review resulted in several persons being removed from the food support program. And what the ministry continues to do is remove persons from this program. And in addition to that, arising out of that review, what you would have had done is persons who have been receiving disability and food support, public assistance and food support, or in some cases, pension and food support, all of the food support were removed. so you can only get one grant from the ministry. So it has been an ongoing process where this Minister of Social Development has been making serious errors, which can be deemed as an attack on the poor and vulnerable of this country. Over, back to you, Leader.
I just put it up. Thank you. That's what it, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, MP Mohit. Thank you very much. So, I say this government has no shame whatsoever. They take us all for fools. The fact is, the government is dangerously incompetent. They are full of lies because they think we are all fools. And the AG almost sits in the high chair of fools. Now he was caught trying to thief bread from the table of pensioners. He claims it was a mistake, and once again, singing the same old tune, blaming public servants. He is a great embarrassment to this country and to the Office of Attorney General. This pension fiasco is another disaster under his belt. The man is a blundering buffoon. He's a blundering buffoon. Had it not been for public pressure, they would not have rescinded it. And my take is, they say they will withdraw the bill. They have not yet done that to the best of my knowledge. But my concern is that when you vote for them, and if you vote for them, as Bobolis, I said, you continue to vote for them, they will bring it back. They will bring back this bill post-election, so we have to make sure that we do not put them back in office. I put on notice the government is broke. All these things they're trying to implement, cuts in pensions, increases in utility rates, fuel prices, property taxes, are precursors to an IMF bailout. The government is broke. The treasury is empty. They have approached the banks for loans this month to fund the government until March of 2025 because they are broke. FCB and Republic were averse to lending them because these banks were already exposed to large loans given to the government. That is why the government colluded with the central bank. On July 19, 2024, the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago reduced the primary reserve requirement for commercial banks from 14% to 10% of prescribed liabilities. Lowering the reserve requirement enabled banks to free up funds to give credit to government. So we are in dire straits, and the government has created no new revenue streams. They have dried up the forex completely, and therefore they attempting to inflict wounds and damage to citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We will have none of it. We'll continue to expose them. Remember, expose the Tobago scandal with the cost overruns. They denied it. We talked about this. Donna Cox did admit it on the Monday, but within a day or two, the stories changed. So we will continue, as I say, to expose government on their incompetence and their lies. I thank you very much, and we are open to questions, please.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Persad, Bissessar, Jesse Ramdev from CNC3 News here. Clearly in your articulation there, you do not support the explanation given by the Attorney General that a public servant was responsible for inserting the clause, etc. At this stage, Mrs. Persad, Bissessar, what do you think should be the repercussion for that? Many are saying that perhaps the AG should be terminated, action should be taken. What is your position on that?
Okay. Well, your question has several factors in it. I do not believe that a public servant is to blame. As I've outlined the process to you guys, the process has so many steps at which, if that was a mistake, it could have been picked up. So it is incompetence, as I said, negligence on the part of the government. If indeed we believe that it is a mistake, but I do not believe it is a mistake. And this is the fourth or fifth time that the AG is blaming public servants. I gave you all those examples before. What should be the consequence? The AG should go, but they should all go. We don't have long to wait again. The bell will soon ring and we vote them out of office. That is what we can do as citizens. We call on the Prime Minister to fire people. He can't fire anybody. He doesn't. We talked about Hines, a total waste of time, incompetent, murders, in home invasions, a crime out of control. Doesn't happen. He just says he's not going to give him back the seat. Again, when he wins, he says, but he'll still be with us if and when they form government. He'll still be there. So after elections, all these things that they're withdrawing and putting hold on, they will come back with it should they win the election. As a people, as a citizen of our country, with the best interests of all the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the only thing that we can now do is mobilize the troops, mobilize everyone, right-thinking citizens to make sure they come out and vote this government out of office.
Just one minute. Would you happen to chalk up the response by the government to the public furor and as an election strategy? Do you think they just reacted as an election strategy?
I'm glad you asked me that. On the 9th of December, I'm sitting in the Parliament and I see on the paper an amendment to the Pensions and Public Assistance Act, two different pieces of law. And I said, as soon as I got back to our conference room, I told Nicholas, please pull up that bill. I want to see what's in that bill. I believe this is an election ploy that they're coming just before the election to increase the pension. That's what we really thought. When we pulled up the bill, it was a total opposite. So that's the first part of it. The second part is, or the third part is, if it's an election strategy to pull it back, I think that they cannot pull this back. They cannot walk away. They cannot walk back on this one. The outrage was tremendous on social media, in the public, everywhere. There was tremendous outrage. And I do not believe they could walk this one back. The pension terror, the pension fiasco. It will be very difficult for the government to walk this back. Because there's a point now where we just can't believe them. We found them lying on so many occasions. You just cannot believe this government anymore. When you lose that trust, you're in a very dangerous place.
Opposition Leader Jewel Brown, TV6 News. I'm just wondering, you would have served as Prime Minister, of course, and you had outlined the process in terms of how a bill is brought to Parliament, etc. What you heard from the government yesterday, do you recall any other time where anything like that ever happened or could have happened in terms of their explanation of how that occurred?
I really cannot see how that could have happened after 18 months. You can have a slip, from last week to this week maybe, but 18 months under 3 separate sets of review, the LRC, first the Cabinet on the policy, then the LRC, which comprises senior ministers, including the AG, then the Finance Committee, which includes the Finance Minister and the AG and other senior ministers, and then the whole Cabinet when the notice first taken, and again it goes back for confirmation. I cannot buy that story, I just don't believe a word. Has anything like this happened? Maybe, but I don't recall anything taking 18 months before it's corrected. I really don't. We remember the famous, infamous Section 34. Immediately we discovered, I went to the Parliament within that same week to amend and take away, repeal the offending sections that probably went in. So it could happen, but we went immediately to do it. This is 18 months. You ask me if anything else has happened, let me tell you something. The last time this pensioners thing happened, Act 6 of Act number 6 of 2010 under my government to increase. Then we went back, Act 2 of 2012, we went back. Legal Notice 289 of 2014, on 3 occasions or more, my government had attempted to really clean up this process, but also to make sure we did not take away bread from pensioners and from those on public assistance. I notice in this here now, there is a clause in the bill which says, in the Act it says, from 2010, September 1, and they're asking to delete that. You know why? Because that's the last, when we raised the pension in 2010. They're deleting that from just the words from 2010 and just say persons eligible under this act, and then they give the criteria, one of which is not having over $25,000. So this is the original act, chapter 3202, and this is the bill that was laid on the 9th. So in some ways it's cosmetic as well, because you just don't want people to remember 2010, what happened when we had promised to increase, and we did increase the old age pensions. Is there anything else you have?
Well, for those who may not understand the process in terms of the withdrawal of a bill, is that something where the Parliament is a parliamentary process, a notification to all members of Parliament? How does that occur?
No, it doesn't need the parliamentary numbers by voting to take it back out. The government can withdraw it, or the government can just leave it on the order paper and allow it to lapse. That is without debate. Without debate, yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Just another thing, in terms of what is your message to pensioners in the context of, because, for example, they talked about the government yesterday that there is a criteria or some level of criteria that you have to, as a pensioner, meet in order to qualify. And I'm wondering, do you think that is something that should be looked at, that existing system?
Yeah. There's always room for improving legislation based on experiences. Yes, there always is room. But I did not think that putting that cap, I did not think that that was an appropriate way to deal with some other problems that you may be experiencing. Given the inflation in our country at this time, the cost of living has risen so much, now is not the time for that. But now was the time for them to take their back pay and increase their salaries and increase their pensions. When they vote out of office next year, they will get a higher pension because they made sure to approve that. But to take away this from all pensioners, not the time.
Do you think the nation's pensioners need more assistance via some intervention of the state in addition to what they already have at this time?
But I think we are grateful for the small mercy of the grant they get, the old age pension, not grant is a right, old age pension that they get, but they do need more assistance because we've spoken about the healthcare system, how bad it is in every sector. So especially for pensioners, your healthcare is very vital. And in fact, I saw on one of the stations, I think it might be CNC3, you have people say, I saw people talking about that. They say, look, I have to go for a medical treatment. And it's $25,000 below I have. I can't, doctor, you want to see me if you have to do surgery. They want to know where am I going to get it. So the healthcare system is also in a serious disarray, and instead of helping people, really healing people, it seems to be damaging more people. We saw what happened in newborn babies, in 19 babies, and that minister still sitting down there and wiping tears. Total incompetent, negligent government, I must say.
I don't know if you take a question on any other subject. I have one on another matter. All right, so the Prime Minister yesterday said that the National Security Council directed the National Security Minister, if I'm not mistaken, to appoint a committee to look into, I guess, the response to the fire in which the Minister in the Ministry of Education and two of her children unfortunately died, that tragic incident. And I'm just wondering, because you're hearing this back and forth between the fire service and the government about water supply, resources, etc. What is your sense of the situation, let's say, with the fire service, for example, and where that organization is at this time?
Yeah, well, the organization too is in a bad way. In terms of equipment, lack of resources, lack of funding. I don't want to go into the details of what I have heard about what happened on that very tragic day, but it's no secret in this country that the fire service is totally underfunded, under-resourced in terms of equipment, in terms of other kinds of equipment. But the issue of the committee, I think that's the question you're really asking me. I don't know if that is the answer. Who will head this committee? How many committees have we had over these years? Every time something happens, committee, Prime Minister puts a committee and you never hear. Let me tell you one that we never hear about. That same one about the missing file in the AG's office. They set up a committee, the Justice Stanley John Committee. What has happened to that report? My colleague in law from the Freedom Chambers, they have filed a Freedom of Information application to get a copy of that report because it's so vital. What happened? The AG then said it was public servants, file went missing, then it appeared. And they wrote back and said they will not give him the file under the FOIA because they're going to lay it in Parliament at the next sitting of the Senate. So that was the latest information coming back from it. But that report, where is it to? So these committees, who is going to do it? In fact, when I was reading the amount of money paid for that particular committee, not wrong with a committee, but who's going to be in that committee? If you're going to put your handpicked, chosen, not independent persons, then what's the point? That's one aspect of the committee. If it is the committee is to investigate, I didn't get it clearly, investigate between the two ministries fighting, whether it's Fire Service Department and Mr. Gonzalez, or should it not also be, there should be a criminal investigation? This is a scene where you have 3 persons who died. There should be a forensic criminal investigation as well. So I'm not sure what the Prime Minister's committee is to do, but it has to be that you also have to conduct, let the fire officers and the police, TTPS, they have to do an investigation as well. We don't know what happened, and I don't want to pretend to know. I don't know That is why you need, in addition to whatever committee the Prime Minister, which I have no faith in any committee he sets up. I can name out 50 committees set up, and we've never seen the reports, and nothing has ever come out of those. Yes? So, but we should have a proper criminal investigation, forensic, into what transpired on that very tragic day or night.
And during your tenure as Prime Minister, did you seek to address some of the same issues in the fire service during your tenure as Prime Minister?
I'm sure I did, but I don't have that brief with me right now, but I'm sure we did. We tried. We would have tried so to do. We were fortunate because we were very interested in getting revenue streams for our country. We had the highest foreign direct investment under my watch, and therefore we were not cash-strapped as this government, who has killed everything. The one forex earner was the Petrotrin. Sold that off, or didn't sell it, pretending to sell it and close it down. So you didn't have the revenue streams, and they complain that all the money go on and all the money go on. But we were able to get more FDI and to get more investments into the country. So we had more revenue with which to address the situation in the country, to make a better place for everyone. Anyone else?
Mrs. Bissessar, while you're also fielding questions that aren't related to the topic of the press conference, I had to ask. We got confirmation today from the Works and Transport Minister that the widening project here has been, we were anticipating, but we've gotten the confirmation that it's been delayed further. It's not going to be completed this year. This project was supposed to be completed in August. It was pushed back. We were promised that it was going to be completed by the end of this year. You're accustomed with the traffic. Most of us who traverse the area, we're accustomed with the traffic. On hearing this news that, again, it's delayed until perhaps next year now, what's your position on that?
It's delayed until next year.
Yeah, it's not going to be finished this year. We've gotten that confirmation.
I am not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Minister Sukhai was out there boasting we finished by December, I remember. I am not surprised. Again, the incompetence of this government. But again, it's pain and suffering. I came up that highway, I mean, it's like crazy. Crazy. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. You take over the screen.
At this point, I would like to thank all media houses, all citizens for viewing, and we wish you a holy season greetings, happy holidays.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and all of you have come today. Thank you for being with us. And as my colleague, on behalf of the UNC, wish you and your families and your loved ones a very blessed, very holy season. Very Merry Christmas, and of course, we look forward to a brighter New Year in 2025. Please reach home safe. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Everybody now, let's go.